Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast on this somewhat snowy Tuesday in Chicago. What's going on, Bears fans? Adam Hoge, Greg Riggs Jr., Herb Howard back with you. Mark Harmon will be back tomorrow. Sorry to everybody for that news. It is showtime, but apparently not show time. Brags.
Yeah, let's start off the show like this.
Well, you're the one wearing all the Cubs gear.
That's true. I
Look
am
at
wearing
you.
all the Cubs gear. Got my Mitchell and Ness Cubs hat on. I got my Cubs championship hat on and trying to get all the vibes. Now Bob Nightingale's putting out reports, which only means the opposite of whatever Bob Nightingale is reporting will happen. So we're feeling good right now, Cubs fans.
What did I tell you yesterday?
You told me to keep the hat on no matter what.
Keep the hat on until Shohei signs. I come here today, I said, Brax, did you sleep in the hat? What'd you say?
I said no.
All right, so you don't get to cry about it anymore.
I am going to cry.
Unless
I specialize in crying.
I'll tell you how we can make this up. Today, tomorrow, you put out content, you showering in that hat.
This is my favorite hat. I'm not
First of all,
showering in it.
I got a beef with you even wearing that hat.
Why?
World Series hats, that should be hanging in your room or your office.
No,
it's not to wear.
It's collectible.
I don't think I wore my White Sox World Series hat a single time.
I'd be ashamed of that hat too if I were you. Now, the difference is this is a cool hat. I'm sure your World Series hat is lame, but this one is cool. It's got like all the stuff in the black, like the different.
It has the trophy.
Lettering.
Is what you're trying to say?
It's got the lettering that's very CHGO-esque in the lettering. Got the trophy. Got the. It's just a sweet vibe.
Stop taking it off.
You know what it doesn't have? Shohei Ohtani.
Wow.
In due time. And you know what? This kind of reminds me of the Christopher Morel moment where you talked all this shit.
Who's that again?
When the White Sox were going to beat the Cubs and you were having all this fun. You had the same smile on your face you do right now. And then halfway through the show,
when we were in Indy,
I completely lost my shit because the opposite happened.
That was funny.
So maybe you're actually pulling the same thing that happened.
See, but what I was doing there was setting up content.
the
And it turned out
reverse
to
jinx.
be great content.
Yeah.
See? He's always 2 steps ahead.
I'd be
See,
prepared.
I am
'Cause
giving.
You remember how much I freaked out in that moment,
One
right?
guy.
If we get Shohei Ohtani during this show today,
Yeah.
it's going to be a colossal meltdown.
Say he
You're
goes
gonna
10
see.
for 500. Do you let him pitch? 10 for 500. Do you let him pitch?
He can't pitch next year, but he'll pitch at some point in his career. Yeah, that's.
Do you
the
start to
idea.
limit it though? Limit how much he pitches? Do you say
No.
you just
I
let him go every
Shohei
5
decide-
days?
Shohei decides whatever he wants.
Not
Once he
if I
signs-
not if I guarantee you 500 million.
Shohei does whatever he wants. He signs with the Cubs.
You don't pitch in the first half. You can pitch in the second half of the season,
Like Octane here. He says no.
and only against good teams.
No show for the Cubbies since you talk shit about the Sox.
I'll
It
do
works
what-
both ways.
No, it doesn't work
Your
both ways.
karma, because only one of us is being a jerk to the other team.
Yeah.
And that's you.
I want the Cubs to get Shohei. I'm a company man.
Go Cubs, go all day long, baby. This hat notwithstanding.
That hat's sweet.
This hat is sweet.
because it's got the alternate sock
Yeah.
logo on the side too, which people can't see, but that's the truth right there.
Well, the Sox hat is classic, but I'm
All right.
Go Cubs, go forever.
Yeah. Well, go Bears, go, or
Something.
whatever we.
What were we supposed to be talking about here?
We are
All right, Andy,
inching
all right.
towards the team. What? Oh, this confuses me. So sometimes Lawrence, our producer, just like starts randomly swearing over there to himself, and I don't know. We don't have headphones on, so I don't know if he's on mic or not.
Yes, I was muted for my statement that I made earlier, but it stands.
Okay, I didn't even hear.
It does stand. I stand behind it,
Okay.
in front of it, next to it.
I I'll tell you this. I'm excited for the Bears to get back on the football field. It's starting to feel like, when you get into bye week's over, now we're into this, but they're still not even practicing for the Lions yet. It's just, all right, time to get back and play some football. They also haven't been in Soldier Field in what seems like a month and a half.
Right.
The Panthers game was the last home game.
It's been a minute, which makes it seem like 3 weekends, 3 or 4 weekends, right?
Well, they had a mini
Because
bye.
the mini bye, so it wasn't that weekend.
Yeah.
You go to Detroit, not that weekend. You go to Minnesota, not that weekend. Then you have an actual bye. So it's been 4 weekends since we've actually been to Soldier. It feels like a minute.
And we had 3 straight Sundays off.
Yeah.
Didn't we? Mini bye, Monday night game, bye week.
That's true.
Oh, that's real.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and-
it's a little weird.
But
Right?
yeah.
Oh, no, the Lions
the
game
Lions
was in
game.
there.
I know.
The Lions
and,
game was
and
in there.
last year I had the NFL ticket and I didn't ever
3 out of 4.
and I never used it. So then this year I didn't buy it. And this year we've been at home on more Sundays, and I'm like, shit, I probably should have because it was driving me. I don't like Red Zone. Everybody loves the Red Zone
I don't like it
channel.
either.
I don't like it. I can't watch a game like that.
It's like football for dummies. You know how they got the books? It's like this and that for dummies, cars for dummies, whatever. It's like football for dummies. It's like it gives you the highlights, the classic. You get in the end zone, okay, that's it. It's like for me, as a person who loves the intricate details of the game, I love the drive. I love the play that happened, that got you from the 30 to the plus 40 or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's the drive to me. I don't need to see you punching in from 2. Whatever.
Right.
I like having Red Zone on the second screen.
Yeah,
though.
agreed.
But, yeah, there's something about the sound. Like, I like to hear the broadcast of so I usually will put, here's the main game I want to watch or whatever.
Right. So I have
like a couple weeks ago when you didn't come over to my house
That's
when you were
true.
invited. I put the game
Terrible. Because I wanted to come, but I was
I
in
don't even
Minnesota.
want to hear
Yeah.
from you. I've come to your parties at your house. I was there at your house all summer for training camp. I
That was
invited you
work.
to
You weren't
a party.
invited for that. You had to be there.
I invited you to a party at my house, and none of you came. So I don't want to hear about that. And
Gave us
two,
12 hours notice on a Friday in rush hour.
and two,
On a holiday Friday.
Yeah, it was like July 4th weekend.
Hey, Braggs, I'm that kind of guy too. I'm not mad at you. I'm real impulsive. I'm real spontaneous. I'm like,
Herb will
hey,
come.
y'all want to go to
Next year-
Africa
But
tomorrow?
you did offer. Hey, he did offer free
That's me.
parking.
free
his
parking
cul-de-sac.
in my cul-de-sac. You can come next year.
Thank
Carm's definitely not coming. And if Hoge keeps chirping, he's not coming. So the one thing about the multiple TVs things, though, the other thing with the Red Zone, to get off the Red Zone thing, but when you have one game on and the Red Zone on the other, there's a delay on the Red Zone feed versus. So I don't like that either. But not everybody has multiple TVs. You have 2, I have 3. Not to flex.
Whoa,
But yeah.
not to flex. YouTube
Except
TV
you
has
weren't-
gotten it
You
right.
weren't at my house, so you don't know that I do have 3.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, and you actually have been at my house and should know that.
There's
That's
that.
true.
Like
he
you
did.
just said, you were
That's
there
true. He
literally
did have
every
3.
day
Well,
this summer.
There's that.
But way to flex.
All right, so
wrongly.
what were you saying? Forget about it.
I'm just saying that YouTube TV has it right. The way that they can watch all those different games, the different ways that you can watch different games, and the way that they'll bring you up to speed. Like if you come in late and you're like, hey, you want to get caught up to speed? Like, yeah, I want to get caught up to speed. And they'll take you through all the key plays.
That part's awesome.
Yeah, that's
Now-
sweet. Prime does that too.
Now, I'll say this. Now that we're getting to the end of the season, though, like last night, ironically enough, did have implications on the Bears with the Bengals winning. Because before last night's game, the strength of schedule for the Panthers and the Patriots pick was tied.
Okay.
And with the Bengals winning, now the Panthers have the advantage on the strength of schedule tiebreaker. And that's going to continue to change, but I'm going to be obsessively looking at
Good
that.
on you for doing that.
That's
it
why
you are you.
It does,
It
especially
does matter.
now.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm
It
saying
matters,
good on you.
especially now with we don't know how long Trevor Lawrence will be out. The Jaguars play the Panthers. So if the Patriots have the tiebreaker advantage, the Panthers only have to win 1 game for the Patriots to jump. But if the Panthers have the tiebreaker advantage, they'd have to win 2 games. So it does matter. And then Thursday night,
That is not football for dummies.
Thursday night, we've got Steelers, versus Patriots. And Mitch Trubisky, we need him to lay an egg so the Patriots can win. So we've got some things here to get us to Sunday is my overall point.
I'm glad you brought that up because this has to be one of the worst games of the year. And yet, I'm kind of excited for it.
I'm going to be.
Because it's
yeah.
Mitch Trubisky needs to basically suck against the Patriots.
It was a solid, Mitch.
So that the Patriots... I actually wish it was the other way around. I wish we had to root for Trubisky to get a win.
Right.
Do us a solid, Mitch. Either way, just do us a solid. 3 pick sixes will work for me.
Yeah.
I just like. Did you see the graphic they put up last week on Amazon?
Oh yeah.
Promoting
Where
the
they
game.
didn't have a Patriots player, they just put Belichick up there.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad.
Do you know a Patriots player?
I would have gone with the running back, but then he, of course, destroyed his groin or something on.
Yeah, Ramondre Stevenson's out, so
not that it cost me a prop.
Yeah, that doesn't help. I think it's disrespectful to special teamers everywhere that they didn't put Matthew Slater up there.
That's real.
You know?
How old is he now?
I don't know, 76.
He like our age at least. Like
I mean, he's been around forever, and he's still badass.
No, he's still getting it done.
Yeah,
like, for real.
Bragg's never heard of him, so
no,
don't worry about it.
I was trying to tell Josh Blackwell in the locker room a few weeks ago. I was trying to tell Josh Blackwell from the Bears about Sherrick McManus. I'm like, dude, if you just be that dude. I'm like, you remind me of him anyway. Y'all got similar builds. You play special teams that kind of way. Like, just be Sherrick McManus. He's like, I think I've heard of the name. I was like, dude, just go watch the tape. He played here. Yeah. Like, be Sherrick McManus, Josh Blackwell.
It's kind of Josh Blackwell's been there for 2 years. How have I understand this coaching staff didn't coach Sherrick, although I think Richard Hightower probably did his first time.
He might have, right?
Around here. I'm surprised they haven't shown tape of Sherrick McManus to these guys.
They should, especially to Josh. That's his.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's his blueprint.
All right. Well, one of the main topics we're going to talk about today is who has, and not just one person, but among the players, I'd say there's like a handful of players that have a lot on the line in these last 5 games. Now, important asterisks on what I just said. There's way more than that obviously do. I mean, there's a ton of guys on the back half of every roster in the NFL that's playing for jobs, for the future every single week. Mm-hmm. But especially this late in the year, they want to put on some good tape. But we're going to focus obviously more on some of the higher profile guys, the guys that can earn big money here or elsewhere with contracts. Now, obviously, number one on this list has to be the quarterback, Justin Fields. In terms of the ramifications of what could be decided here in these final 5 games that the Bears have. I think they're winnable games. I think they're games that are provide an opportunity for Justin to play well, but also just enough challenge, especially like I'd look at that Browns game coming up in Cleveland. We don't have to bring up the last time Justin Fields played.
Almost got left in Cleveland.
Yeah, in the regular season, mind you, but there's a lot on the line there, and I don't know that we have to go too in depth on what Justin Fields. Yeah, we've talked about it to death.
We talk about Justin a lot,
but
he sucks and he can't.
Yeah. So do we want to just skip Justin or come back to him?
I think we could.
I'm sure he'll work his way into it somehow. So we don't have to be intentional about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's probably a good point.
He has something to prove. It's obvious.
Consistency.
So number 2 on my list is Jaylon Johnson, who was having a great year, but has now dropped 2 pick sixes in his last 2 games. And not just, that could have been a pick 6.
No, those were guaranteed pick sixes, and I think he dropped one in the Panthers game too. Mm-hmm. I thought he had a 75-yarder he could have stepped in front of Adam Thielen, and he didn't. Yeah, he's costing himself some money, but I still think he's having the best season of his career. I think he's playing at a Pro Bowl level. He's having a great, great season, but he could have really been standing on his bag with some of those big plays that everybody remembers, those stick out in your mind type of plays.
Well, look at Bland right now in Dallas.
Yeah.
He just set the record for most pick sixes in a season.
And when you get your hands on the ball, people remember that, because who were they just playing last week? They was lighting his ass up. Like, they was just targeting him.
The Seahawks? Or the week before that?
Seahawks. Was it the Seahawks?
Yeah, the Seahawks on Thursday.
They was just lighting him up. But then later he gets a pick. He's like, he had a great game. He got his ass lit up.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because they still have the tag ability with Jaylon Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an opportunity for him to still play here under a franchise tag, or they put a transition tag and see what the league.
I'll be shocked if they don't tag him.
Yeah, who else if they're going to use it? Who else going to tag?
I'd be shocked if they don't tag him. I think the question is, and now you can't change it, but let's say he gets 2 of those 3 pick 6 opportunities and converts them. I mean, I feel like the Bears are probably more likely than to pay him to finish the deal.
Yeah.
Do they want to pay him, though? Do they
Why
want
wouldn't
to?
they?
Well, do they want to pay him what Jaylon wants to be paid?
But you know
Because
what?
does Jaylon want to come down on any kind of offer? This is what's happening with him and Darnell Mooney and Roquan Smith. They're pointing to, in negotiations, I'm assuming, statistics. And these players are looking at like, well, look at the roster you've put around me. How do you expect me to have, Eberflus talks about, hey, I need takeaways. Last year he was calling out Jaylon Johnson about this. And Jaylon's probably like, well, I need a pass rush. And so now the opportunities you see where he's getting them and he's dropping them and owning that and taking his own personal frustration about it. But I just think that Jaylon is probably at a point like, I'm not coming down too hard on you guys. You guys owe me this because I've been playing hard for you. And the Bears are like, well, this is our spot. And you either can come down to this or, we'll find a replacement like we have for Montgomery and Roquan Smith, potentially Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, and I'm always pro player. I want these dudes to get as much as they can. I'm never like, let's save these billionaires some money. I don't care. The Bears got enough money to spend. They can pay that dude. That being said, though, I think that it's about leverage. Any negotiation is about leverage, and you're never gonna get what you wanted from the start, right? He wants this number. They want you at this number. Hopefully, the goal is to meet in the middle, and it's about who has the leverage to pull you more towards my side or theirs. They've got the franchise tag. They've got the lack of ball production over the entirety of your career, not just this season.
Right.
So because he has gotten his hands on the ball this year. We talked about the ones he's dropped, and those were big ones, but he has gotten his hands on the ball more this year, and he's having a phenomenal season. But you also talk about, okay, then if you're gone, what are our other options, right? And I think that you talk about, I guess you would start with Tyreek and Terrell, right? Which neither one of them is him, not yet. You know what I mean?
No.
And then you talk about free agency or the draft. And I just think that if you have a top corner in this league, it's a really, really important position. If you got one, go ahead and keep him.
Yeah, and I don't get this idea that you're not going to use a franchise tag on him. Yeah. I mean, it's...
But if you did, don't you guys feel like he's going to hold out if you franchise tag
he can hold out as long as he wants. He'll show up in September.
Guys, this is how the franchise tag works. It's a tool for both sides. Really, it gives the team the leverage, but players have gotten some of the leverage back. I think the most likely scenario right now is franchise tag, hold out. They either come to an agreement or they don't. And
he'll show up.
This idea that the Bears, first of all, the Bears have plenty of cap space to deal with a 1-year franchise tag. Even if you can say he's not worth $20 million. It's not about the APY. They care about more when it's a long-term contract.
Right.
Okay, you are willing to overpay a little bit on a franchise tag to gain the leverage to ultimately agree on a lower number, APY, that works for both sides. That's the whole point of it. And if it doesn't work out, at the end, you Khalil Mack the situation and you can trade him at the end of training camp. And hopefully that's not where it goes, but there's no point at all in letting this dude walk. And if you don't think he's playing at a high enough level to at least earn that franchise tag where you're the team, your side gets more of the leverage, then you're not watching football correctly. The guy has been excellent this year. He's dropped some pick sixes.
Sure.
And there's no question if he wants to get that $20 million APY over 5 years, he's got to start catching the ball more. Absolutely. But he's certainly played at a high enough level that you use a tag, you don't let him walk out the door for nothing but, hope for a comp pick in a year.
We get caught up so much on the money. Like, if we keep it simple, do you want Jaylon roster on this Bears roster next year or not? And you have a pathway to do that via the franchise tag. And if you can use that and then come to a lower number later at 16 or 17 or whatever, then fine. That's what it's there for. But just let's not get too deep into this thing. Do you want Jaylon Johnson on this team or not? Like, stop counting other people's money, man. Y'all be all right.
I want good players to be on the Bears.
That's a good recipe.
Is that controversial?
No, that's a good recipe.
Because it seems controversial here sometimes.
It does seem controversial.
I would like there to be good players that stay on the Bears and they don't get traded away where other teams that have better track records overall pay them more than you are willing to.
Because I could see him in a 49ers uniform. He'd look great in a 49ers uniform. That's the crib for him. Whew. And he's got that front that's in front of him, and then he'll be a ball hawk and a tackling machine.
But that's where that's where a part of me feels like he doesn't really want to be here anymore. If they paid him top dollar, sure. But if they're going to come down, he's like, well, I can get any team at that number.
I'm not giving y'all a discount for what? I would give the Bears a discount because I'm from here, right? Cole Kmet might.
Cole
you know
admitted,
what I mean?
well, he admitted as much when we talked about his contract, a month or so ago.
Cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's cool. But I'm from California, bro. I don't, like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would like to be here. Y'all drafted me here. And I'm not somebody who says, like, pay people for past production. I don't care how good he's been, how good do I think he's going to be going forward? And I think he's going to be a really, really good corner.
Well, and I also feel like the coach hasn't been shy about calling him out a few times in the media. Last year he was pretty direct about it. And even this year, we were just talking about it, where on the interception he had, we're like, well, he had the wall. He could have used the wall.
It's a bad return.
Instead of just being like, I'm happy he got that interception and helped us win the game.
Yeah, nice.
So they haven't really been that shy to be a little more critical towards him than maybe other players.
One more option, though, and I wouldn't completely rule it out either, but the Bears went transition tag with Kyle Fuller, and I wonder if this could be one of those situations where it's sort of a middle ground where, okay, you test the market, there's possible,
there's a chance to match.
You don't get any draft compensation in return, though. You just
right.
It's basically you just let them negotiate with the open market with the opportunity to match, but then you also sort of lose your opportunity to structure it the way you want. Now, you can always restructure it later, but there's no guarantee the player will do that.
Right.
So there's pros and cons to that, but the difference is about $4 million. Maybe that's enough. I just look at the Bears, man. You got to stop letting good players walk out your door.
If I had to bet on it, just based off history, I'd say he's gone. And I don't want him to be gone. I love Jaylon Johnson. I want him to be here. But just in watching Ryan Poles' moves, I think he has a number, and I don't really see him budging from it.
Yeah,
he's going to be great on the Ravens next year.
He's really going to be great on the Ravens. I think he'll be a 49er, honestly, but he'd be great on the Ravens, too.
We got a guy in the chat saying you guys are armchair GMs. Yeah, we are literally in armchairs talking about what the general manager may or may not do.
And so are you.
That's what we do here, and you're watching the show. And
so are you, good person.
And you're
there are 32 people who are general managers in the National Football League.
Podcast critic. We're the armchair GM. You're the chat chair podcast critic. And yes, he's going to be looking for compensation. You know where else you can get some compensation? You hit up DraftKings and use the code CHGO when you sign up. That's right, Lawrence. Can you believe we're this deep into the NFL season? We got to make every second count with DraftKings Sportsbook. You can make the most out of every game day. Bet on your favorite teams for a shot at winning big bucks. New customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting $5 on any matchup. Get in on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the app now and use the code CHGO. New customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on the NFL. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code CHGO. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. Please play responsibly. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Must be 21 or older in most eligible states. By age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms.
That disclaimer read was an electric factory. And you know where else we're looking for electric? Is with ComEd. It's getting easier for businesses to switch to electric vehicles. That's something we can all get behind for health of the planet and the well-being of all of us who share it.
Yeah, I can just see Carm rolling his eyes right now. Braggs is just going to his head with Carm not here. I love it. Yeah, but Braggs, the electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs as we all move with confidence towards and electric tomorrow. Whether you have one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks, ComEd can help guide you to make the changes that make sense.
So what should business owners do?
Go to ComEd.com/clean to learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. If you own a business, do not wait. Start making your plan today to switch to electric vehicles. Good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to ComEd.com/clean.
Did you say ComEd.com/clean, Hoge?
Yes. Go now. See how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come. All right.
Everybody's loving my transitions in the chat.
Put the transition tag on you.
Yo, that was well played.
Thanks.
It's worth
All
a
right.
lot. 20 mil.
Throwing out numbers
I ain't
now.
taking no discount.
All right. Now, number 3 on my list is not somebody who is going into or at least playing on an expiring contract right now. Would be going into the final year of his contract next year. But draft pick, not from this regime, but somebody who's getting to the end of year 3. And in my opinion, has been playing at a level that is somebody you want to keep around here. At minimum, when I talk about categories of players, long-term starter, and seemingly getting better. The big question, the health, staying healthy. But for the most part this year, this guy has done that. Tevin Jenkins. And I think for him, I think he plays himself into a contract extension if A, he stays healthy, if he could play every snap the rest of the season, and B, do it at a high level, which it kind of seems like B comes automatically now.
Yeah.
If A is
If A,
accomplished,
then B for sure.
because he's just playing at a high level. He's just a good player.
He really is.
So I think these last 5 games are huge for him. If he can finish the season strong, say, hey man, I've been healthy. Honestly, he might be a Pro Bowler at that point.
No doubt.
I mean, at least have a case for it. The Bears have actually have a handful of guys that can make the argument, but probably won't get it just because they're not a good enough team.
Yeah.
But I think Tevin Jenkins is on that list.
No doubt that Tevin Jenkins is on that list. He's played at a very, very high level for them, but he's also shown himself to be a great company guy. Everything they've asked him to do, he's done. He's moved right tackle, left tackle, right guard, left guard, injuries, demotions, put the 5th-round rookie in front of me, and he's handled all those things well. And at times you didn't know that he would, right? When they first brought Braxton Jones in here and like, hey, Tevin, go sit down somewhere, I was like, ooh, I don't know that he bounces back from that. And he admitted that it was a very big struggle for him. He's often credited his partner, his girlfriend, his fiance, his wife, with helping him through those long nights and talking him through those things.
Yep.
And shout out to her for being a great partner for him. But shout out to him for having the mental fortitude to push through those things and continue to stay ready and show up every single time his number has been called. He's performed at an extremely, extremely high level. I think he'll continue to do that as long as he's healthy. The Bears should be about the business of locking up one of the very best interior linemen in the National Football League.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Tevin Jenkins has been phenomenal. That's literally, I don't think I can go any lower than that. To watch him take blocking assignments that really he had no business taking on multiple times in different games. Yeah, I mean, with one of the against the Saints, the touchdown pass to Cole Kmet, the second one, Tevin just comes out of nowhere to give his quarterback an extra second to throw the ball. Hoge put it on display here last week or against the Vikings where Roschon Johnson is delaying 2 pass rushers, blitzers that are coming in. Tevin Jenkins, again, comes off of his blocking assignment and comes all the way across and clears out the guys that Roschon Johnson was holding up. I mean, that's incredible stuff.
It's a football term that coaches always use, is looking for work. And he always does that. Not everybody does that, right? I'm going to do my job. I happen to be good at it, no problem. But if a point comes where I don't necessarily have work in my face or it's not my responsibility, then it's not my responsibility. He's going to find work.
Because how many times have we seen on some of these blooper reels the last 2 years with our offensive line where a guy is just like
where Jatari and Cody were hugging?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. There's been, and it's not just those guys. We've seen it with Lucas Patrick and Cody Whitehair a couple times where they're just standing there. And you're like, what are you doing? Last year, the center that went to the Ravens, Mustafa, he's coming across, he doesn't have his assignment is there's nobody there, so he's just kind of running across the right side of the field and not blocking anybody. Tevin Jenkins, like you said, is looking for someone to block if his assignment is doing something else. So you got to respect it. I think he's been phenomenal. And yeah, there's going to be an injury risk attached, but I'm willing to roll the dice because
you hold your breath every time. He went down in Minnesota. He was like, "Oh, what is it? Is it a back? Is it a leg? Like, what is it?" And fortunately, he came back and he's talked about all the things he's done to kind of strengthen up the little muscles around the bigger muscles that keep him healthy. And hopefully, those things work. And it's probably always going to be a concern. Now, you factor that into the negotiations.
Now, will he be willing? Because a lot of fans always look at it from like what's best, what would work best for the Bears, and people are like, well, give him an incentive-laden contract where he plays X amount of games and this is how much he gets paid. Would he be willing to consider something like that, or with him knowing he has this risk, be less, or is he willing to acknowledge that and be willing to have that in his contract?
So that's where I think that goes back to why he's on this list for me, because I think that you play well these final 5 games, you're on the field, then that gets the Bears to the point where they're willing to offer a long-term contract. And they have the advantage here in that he's not on the open market. So there's only one team that's going to be offering him a contract this winter, and that's the Chicago Bears, right? Because he's got another year left on his rookie deal. So you're basically saying, all right, Tevin, we know your injury history. You know your injury history. We know your body. You know your body. Here's the offer, and you can set yourself up for life right here with this with this second contract, which every player, I mean, you go back to Caleb Williams and his family, they were talking about second NFL contract like 3 years ago.
That's what it's about.
Like, that's how long that's been on their mind, and he's not even in the NFL yet. So for these players, like, that's the ultimate reward. So to answer your question, Braggs, yeah, maybe that offer that comes this offseason does have a bunch of disclaimers like, hey, you got to play this amount. You got to play this amount, this playing time incentive. It's still the big offer you got right now, and it's the only one you got. So if I'm Tevin with my own injury history, and I've been working this my whole life to get that second contract, I'm probably still taking that.
Right, because most teams are probably going to have the same incentives
put
in it. So
unless he balled out next year, played all 17 games again, had no injuries whatsoever.
Just playing on the last year.
But that's a risk. That's a pretty big risk.
And probably not likely considering his injury history. That's how you create a hometown discount, right? There's a natural way for the home team to get a discount, and it's to come in a year early, right? If I wait and you have a all-pro season next year and you get 17 starts, then I'm SOL because I got to pay you now, right? Yep. But if I come in a year early, then I can come down on the guaranteed money, and we can still do the incentives about if you go crazy next year, right? So I think that would be the way for the Bears to go. We know Ryan Poles is an offensive lineman guy, so he knows what he's looking at in Tevin Jenkins. Yep. I think they'd be foolish not to go ahead and at least have some serious talks about locking that dude up.
All right, next on my list. So we've gone through Justin Fields, Jaylon Johnson, Tevin Jenkins, Darnell Mooney. Because Darnell Mooney is on the final year of his contract, just like Jaylon Johnson. And so you had, the 3 guys that were coming into the season that seemed like candidates for extensions: Cole Kmet, Jaylon Johnson, Darnell Mooney. Cole got his. Jaylon, Darnell have not. And it's been an underwhelming season for Darnell Mooney. It's really been an underwhelming 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And yet, great reputation.
Yeah.
Guy never complains about anything.
Busts his ass blocking.
Yeah.
Busts his ass blocking.
Plays bigger than he is.
Yeah.
Like, he's there for you. 2 names. I think the 2 most important names other than Darnell Mooney in these negotiations are Marvin Harrison Jr. and Tyler Scott. How serious are you about making sure you get Marvin Harrison Jr., and then how do you feel about Tyler Scott? If you know you're going to go get Marvin Harrison Jr., and he's going to be one of your top 2, because I'm not sure that he won't be better than DJ, at least in like 2 years, right? So they'll be your top 2 receivers. And then I think Darnell Mooney is an ideal number 3 slot receiver. I think he would be phenomenal in that spot. do you think that Tyler Scott can be as good in that same role? And if you do, then that impacts negotiations. I think all those things factor into the conversation when you decide if you are going to extend Darnell Mooney. Number one, go get Marvin Harrison Jr. Number two, do you love the trajectory, the projection of Tyler Scott?
And right now, my answer to those questions are I trust Mooney more.
Yeah.
I just do.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that T-word trust. You've been able to trust Mooney since he was a rookie.
Yep.
This guy came in, picked up an offense really fast. Now he's on another offense, and I think it's probably health to some extent. Like, there are just times where he's got the ball in his hands and he just doesn't look quite like himself. And let's not forget, he did suffer a major injury at the end of last season that cost him in this entire offseason. And I think if you're the Bears, you got to factor that. And they know way more about that than we do. They know way more about how much that's affecting him right now. So just don't forget about that part of it. As I see so many people in our comments right now just saying, yep, let Mooney walk. I haven't seen enough from Tyler Scott right now where I'm like, he's my guy. And
he catches that ball against Detroit, maybe we're having a different conversation. He doesn't fumble, maybe we're having, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but again, I think he did fumble and he didn't catch that ball.
But again, I think this goes back to what I was saying with Jaylon, and I think this even holds more water with Darnell. I don't really think he wants to be here anymore. If I had to guess, if I were him, I probably wouldn't. I'm on a team where they're asking me to block all the time. I'm barely getting the ball. They've tanked this roster last year, and this year it's been up and down. My offensive play caller isn't doing, things that I think put me in the best position if I'm Darnell Mooney. And, I mean, not even just asking to block on screens, having to catch half these screens. Do you remember early in the year when they were getting
when
beat
your
by
boy
like
got him killed
50 and they threw a screen to him and he got murdered at the end of the game? Like, I would want to kick Luke Getsy's ass after the game if he did that to me. And so to me, now you walk into a negotiating room and now I've got my GM citing my stats as a reason why my number is here. And I'm doing all this stuff, laying my career on the line for this offense that is screen happy. I'm sorry. I'd be like, I'll take my business elsewhere. That's how I'd look at it.
I'm almost surprised the Kansas City Chiefs didn't try to trade for him at the trade deadline, and just because you look at they could use Darnell Mooney right now. They could use a little bit more help. He knows that system, from having played in it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you just
really good point.
Triggered something in my mind with the screens, because you guys were, you weren't here, Herb, but you were at the game, the Monday Nighter in Minnesota, but Braggs was in here, and the first play where they threw the screen to Cole Kmet with Tyler Scott blocking, I lost my mind right there. I'm like, the first play. We're throwing the ball to the big guy so the little guy can block. And to Scott's credit, he's not the one. He actually executed his block on the play. But it's still like the design of it. What are we doing? So I finally got around. JT O'Sullivan had a full breakdown of Justin Fields' game, and because I was out of town, I get in shit. So finally last night I put it on, and he literally paused for like 20 seconds. Because he was just so offended by it. He's like, we just have to stop so I can regroup. And then he's like, this is the first play. Like, we got 2 more hours of this film to go through. It's just, it made me laugh. It really made me feel.
Not only do they do that on screens, they've had these guys blocking on the line.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best defensive end for the other team.
Yeah. We saw that.
Oh, yeah. Tyler Scott, go block. Go block Max Crosby or
Max
whatever.
Crosby?
I don't know.
It wasn't
in the
good.
Minnesota game when the Bears were in the red zone on 3rd down and Fields flushed to his right and had to throw it out of bounds, they had either Scott or Mooney that was blocking on the edge, their best defensive end. On one of the Cole Kmet touchdowns, the one where Tevin Jenkins comes across and like I just referenced with Tevin, if you look on the right side, Tyler Scott is standing up the New Orleans Saints defensive end. He did a great job, but he shouldn't be asked to do that. That's why this offense a lot of times, doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's not ideal to put those guys in those positions, but I don't necessarily think that Mooney doesn't want to be here. I think he has that kind of that small guy toughness. That's like You ever seen those things where you see like the small little like house kitten looks into the mirror and he sees like Mufasa staring back at him in the mirror? I think that's Darnell Mooney. Like he's like that. Like he doesn't know that he's 5'11", $160. He has no idea, right? He thinks he's DJ Metcalf, and that's fine. And so I don't think it bothers him when they like, hey, go block. I think that what I do think is that if he's in Miami, right, and you got Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, and then him, or you put him in Cincinnati and you got Chase and whoever and him, like, or Philly, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Moon, like he's going to be a monster in those roles. And so you can negotiate via stats if you want to, but I would negotiate via his importance to this roster. And I think that if he's appropriately slotted into that number 3 role and he's playing slot and you can get him mismatches on linebackers and safeties, he's going to be there for you. I'm still not saying he's going to give you 1,000 yards, but when you need him, he's going to be big plays available for you at any time. And I think that's extremely valuable. You go get Marvin Harrison Jr. and then you put Moon in the slot and you roll out with that and Cole Kmet.
Yeah, and by the way, you have Cole Kmet, who's really playing 2 tight end positions at once, because unfortunately the Robert Tonyan situation just didn't really
hasn't worked out.
He's
disappointed in that. He had a good camp too.
He's not been the move tight end you want him to be, and Cole Kmet's had to play both of those spots, and Cole Kmet's had a phenomenal year.
Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers. Now if you bring Brock Bowers in as the move tight end, and now you can let kind of Cole be more of
if
what
they draft Marvin Harrison Jr. and Brock Bowers and re-sign Darnell Mooney,
we're going empty.
I would literally.
We're going empty.
Who's your quarterback?
Well, in that scenario, Justin is your quarterback.
If Justin can't win with those guys, then
we're going empty.
Well, that's where the
bring it on, Coach Flores. Blitz everybody you want
next year, and that's the offense they put around him. Yeah, there will be no more excuses. But it's just a question of if that's the route they're going to go.
Draft Marvin Harrison Jr., trade back a few spots, add more draft capital to get Bowers.
Yeah.
And then draft J.J. McCarthy.
Just calm down.
Later.
I hate it already.
Calm down.
I'm just saying. Then you still roll with
we're
Fields.
Just saying,
okay.
No, I'm sorry. I left that part out. You roll with Fields, and then McCarthy's just,
in case.
And then Jim Harbaugh was like, "Nah, we're putting in the Michigan guy in the game in week 1."
It's fine. Like, whatever. If we got that group of weaponry, and we're going empty, and Brian Flores can bring the house if he wants to. We're going empty.
I do wonder if they are considering that kind of a route where they take a quarterback later in the draft, because this is a quarterback-heavy draft.
Do it every year. That's fine.
And I do wonder, like Cam Ward, I don't know if he's coming out this year, but a guy that has a little bit of intrigue if you've ever watched him play Washington State.
We got a Hall of Fame backup already. So
he's in the portal, isn't he?
Yeah, he's transferring.
Yeah,
or
I don't think he's transferring to the NFL. I think
he might try. If he played the Badgers every week, he could. He could definitely.
So yeah, I do wonder about that. Like, would they put somebody like that ahead of Bagent with all the greatness he showed with him and Mark Carman?
Well, I think it'd be more so like Fields is your starter, Bagent's your backup. Then you have this, developmental option that, again, Jim Harbaugh throws in there week 1. All right, we're going to have fun with that. All right, one more player to get to, but before we get there, want to make sure you are up to speed on what's going on at Midtown Athletic Club. I was over at the Bannockburn location yesterday. Got my son out there playing basketball. It's basketball season. Gonna get some extra shots up. And one of the cool things about the Bannockburn location is, a couple of the hoops they have on the sides, you can lower them down to the 9-year-old size. And so we were getting some shots up yesterday. All of their locations are great. I know you guys were over at the the downtown.
Giving Mark Carman that work.
Just insane. I mean, the giant athletic club and hotel in the middle of Bucktown, Lincoln Park. You cannot miss it, even when you're stuck in traffic on the Kennedy. You see it right there. Midtown Palatine has launched a multi-million-dollar transformation of their club, which will be complete in early 2024. Listeners can lock in favorable rates if they join before the end of the year. And there's also a location in the southwest suburbs in Willowbrook. So Midtown's got you covered all over the Chicagoland area. Make sure you go check out the location nearest you. They have something at their clubs for everyone. You might be single. You might have have a family. We ate dinner last night at the Bannockburn location, and so really, whatever situation you might be in at life, Midtown's got you covered, and they have all these awesome features, including their super luxurious locker rooms, wet and dry saunas, premium amenities. They have outdoor, indoor pools, hot tubs, amazing tennis program, all the classes you can find. I got to start getting into some of these classes as well. Head over to midtown.com/CHGO. Find out more and to tour the Midtown Athletic Club nearest you. Again, that's midtown.com/CHGO. That's your landing page. Go check it out there, and you can set up a tour at your closest location to you.
Yeah, their main headquarters has a hotel, which I'll be staying at Friday night after the Christmas party. Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Panko.
He's not here. Yeah, we're doing it up. So, yeah, shout out to Midtown. But I also want to tell you guys about Game Time. Use the code CHGO for $20 off. The Game Time app is really great for buying tickets. Like I've told you guys before, secondary markets can be kind of annoying when you're looking for tickets and they're not exactly honest about the end price when you get through all the different windows and all the different, service fees and everything else. And they don't always show you a seating map that's going to show you exactly where you're sitting. Game Time hooks you up with those kind of things and options to help you an easier way of buying tickets. So you shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat as you're seeing here, and the best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. So see the view from your seats before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All-in prices show your total up front so you know you're getting a great deal without hidden fees. Buy tickets in seconds with only 2 taps. Don't have to go through all these, hoops and ladders to finally get your ticket secured. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event, and even an hour after it starts. It's the best place to find last-minute seats, and that's always the best way to find great deals is last minute like that. Find exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. With zone deals, you pick the section, and Game Time picks the seats for an average of 18% savings, and the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So make sure you hit them up for Christmas and hit up your friends, get them a nice Christmas gift. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
And get fitted out in the best sports gear around with FOCO. They have hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between, whatever season it might be. They'll get you hooked up for a game. Shirts, straw hats, polos, bags, whatever you need, FOCO has it. And they've also donated a bunch of items here for our set. So please go show them some love in return. Check out FOCO.com or click the link in the description below. For all non-presale items, use promo code CHGO10. You'll get 10% off. All right, last guy I have on the list, and I got to be honest, kind of, you could talk about Cody Whitehair. I feel like he's already got one foot out the door a little bit. And it was almost hard to come up with this fifth player because I feel like this guy probably in a similar situation. That's Eddie Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say Cody.
I mean, he's already on the bench.
Yeah.
He's gone. Eddie is a tough one.
Eddie Jackson is definitely a tough one because on some levels you kind of feel like there's probably still a little good football in there, but you look at this secondary, which I think is a phenomenal secondary that is well positioned for the future. I think they're really good and really young. Not even just the starters, but I think the backups. We talked about Josh Blackwell earlier. I've been on board with Jaylon Jones for a long time, like Terrell Smith. I think they got some really good young pieces behind them. And you look at it right now, you're like, is Eddie Jackson the weak link in the secondary? And that's not to say he's playing bad, but just I think going forward, you have to assume that everybody else is going to be a little bit better. And so I think it's a really, really interesting situation. And if you can add a game-changing free safety, I think you got to go that route. Yeah. And I love Bo Jack. Been on board with him for a minute, but I think if you can add a game-changing free safety back there via free agency, or if you think there's one in the draft and you choose to go that route, then cool, go that route. If you can't, then I would say maybe stay pat. You got Elijah Hicks in there. He's got a lot of experience. I don't know that he's, game-changing, elite level either. If you can get an elite level game-changing safety, I would say go ahead and do that and just kind of round out this secondary for the next 4 or 5 years.
You weren't anticipating the rise of Micah Baskerville? He had a great camp. But, no, I love Eddie Jackson. I think he gets a bad rap with a lot of Bears fans. I think he's kind of like the low-hanging fruit for Bears fans to go after, this perception that he doesn't tackle. I thought he dispelled that last year, putting his head down. I'm not saying he's the best tackling safety, but
it's not what he is. So
right.
What?
He's looking for the pick. He's looking for the bait. And I think with this team not having a pass rush all of last year and for the majority of this year until these last few weeks, now that they have Montez Sweat in the fold, where they are starting to generate a little bit of a pass rush, like that's where Eddie Jackson thrives. So we haven't seen the Eddie Jackson that, like you're talking about, a big play safety. I thought that's who he is, but he needs a pass rush in order to do what he does great.
I'll tell you what, they lose against Minnesota if Eddie Jackson's not on the field. First play of the game, like, who's that rookie over there from Iowa? Shoot at him. First play of the game, take a deep shot at him, and they would have scored. Eddie Jackson was not supposed to be there. He was not supposed to be there. I went in the locker room like, yo, what happened on that first? He's like, I wasn't even supposed to be back there, bro. I was like, what? He's like, we was in 0, and I just saw it, and so I just went back there. That's how I ended up kind of running under. He's like, I had it, snatched it from him, we hit the ground. He was able to kind of pull it away, and it ended up being incomplete. But, those types of instincts, that kind of ball-hawking ability, that's
a veteran
who
move.
He is. That's just who he is. That's how he's always been. I'm a fan of football. And any other safety would have been doing whatever it was he was supposed to be doing. I'm not, you know what I mean? He had a job, he had a responsibility on that. It was not to be over the top of that play, which is why he wasn't. Some people looked at that play and like, oh, he was late. He was late because he wasn't supposed to be there. He wasn't late. He was somewhere he shouldn't have been. And then Flus confirmed that in his post-game press conference. I asked him too. He was like, yeah, Bojack wasn't even supposed to be back there. You know what I mean? So he has those types of ball-hawking instincts, and I think there's still some good football left in him. I would like to keep him here. I'm only saying go a different route if you can for sure add an elite game-changing free safety that maybe those days are a little bit behind him now.
Well, and he's under contract for next year. Yeah. So you can save a bunch of money against the cap by letting him go, but that's the type of move where, unlike Darnell Mooney, where Darnell Mooney could sign somewhere before the draft, Eddie Jackson, you can maybe draft his replacement, and then let him go if you need to. Yeah. Similar to what happened with Charles Leno a few years ago. So the timing of this stuff matters too, and I love the idea of drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. and then bringing Darnell Mooney back, but you might have to make that decision on Mooney before you, know who you are going to end up drafting, and that can kind of complicate the situation. So,
Bojack's got 5 more weeks to make a few of those Bojack plays. We know that he can get on a hot streak and he can have 3 big plays over the course of 5 weeks. So he's got an opportunity to still
5-game winning streak is just going to be 6-game winning streak. 6-game winning streak.
All right.
No, 5 games, then they lose the Packers.
Ooh, that would suck.
This is why I hate you, Hoge. When you say something like that hurts my feelings.
Okay, I'm sorry that they haven't beaten the Packers.
You walk in with the Shohei harassment, then you finish the show with the Packers' little jab.
It's not a jab. It's reality.
Well, I take it personally, and so does everybody else watching this show.
Tough place to go win. Tough place to go win.
Are you here tomorrow?
I'm here tomorrow.
Damn it.
I am going to live here until we sign Shohei Ohtani.
Keep that head on.
Thank you, Kyle. Be nice to Braggs. Thank you, Kyle. Are you gonna? Are
you
even
do
gonna?
This thing where where you love to play victim in here.
Well, Yeah.
No one's even doing
you
anything.
and Carm are mean to me. Herb's nice to me. You and Carm are mean to me. Are you going to acknowledge the Bieniemy report? Because everybody in the chat wants to know your opinion on it.
I don't know what the report is because apparently the person who reported it is somebody who has blocked me. I don't know anything about it. Do you know anything about this, Herb?
I don't know about a
because you were probably
Bieniemy
mean
report.
to
What's
her,
going on
too.
with Bieniemy?
Josina Anderson
Okay.
is reporting.
Good job
that
getting her name right.
Yeah.
You were calling her
Josina Anderson.
She Latina now?
Yeah, Josina Anderson is reporting that the Bears have had internal discussions about Eric Bieniemy. She
Good.
said, per sources, was how it ended.
Good. They should. Everybody should have conversations about him. He's been an elite assistant coach and play caller for a long time. So have conversations about him. I'm not saying he has to be here or not, but he should be discussed when you're talking about job openings in this league.
Hoge won't acknowledge it because he's mad because he's blocked and he doesn't know why. Maybe it was an accidental blocking. That happens
Josina
all
Anderson
the time.
blocked you?
Apparently, it was like.
What'd you do to her?
See?
I've told this story before. The only interaction I've ever had with her was I helped her get down the icy stairs outside Lucas Oil Stadium at the Combine one year. She had her suitcase and high heels on, and I'm like, "Can I carry your suitcase for you?" Because she looked like she might fall in those high heels.
Sounds like
ice.
you could fall carrying a suitcase down the icy stairs with a suit. You know what I mean?
If someone, I don't know,
Heels?
someone can do an internal investigation. Look on, maybe I don't know. I honestly don't know why I'm blocked. Maybe there's a tweet out there that would explain it. I have no idea.
Sometimes,
Maybe she meant to block Adam Johns.
Sometimes
Why
people
would you
just go
block
crazy.
Adam Johns?
I don't know.
I mean, I blocked him a long time ago. But
It's my guy. Love Adam Johnson.
Maybe she had him
Papa
on for an
John's.
interview and he was
Papa
late
John's.
to it, and then she meant to block him.
I got nothing. Well, what's the question on Bieniemy? What you want my reaction to that?
Yes.
My reaction is what Herb said. I think the newsy thing is maybe like, wasn't there one about Harbaugh earlier
Yeah,
this
there
week
was
too?
one
Okay.
about Harbaugh.
So stuff is starting to leak out a little bit that the Bears are having internal discussions about different possible replacements for Matt Eberflus. I think that's my question on the stuff is always, where is this coming from? But I know this going through, like, let's just say what happened with Pace and Nagy. It was this time that year that I reported a similar thing, that there were internal discussions going on about possible replacements for Ryan Pace.
Yeah.
And it was like right around Thanksgiving, a little after that, and that's how this game works, guys. Like, you got to be careful with tampering, but if you're doing your job correctly, if you're at the top of the Bears right now, you maybe haven't even made a decision on your head coach or your GM or what direction you're going in, but you better start doing your due diligence behind the scenes. And I'm guessing that's what some of this is.
That's it. I think you got to do your due diligence, right?
Yeah.
If somebody said, hey, the Bears are having internal discussions about Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison Jr., like, of course they are. They better be, right? And so if there's a possibility that somebody else is going to be coaching this team next year, you should be having internal discussions about who that might be. Is it Harbaugh? Is it Bieniemy? Is it Ben Johnson? Is it whoever, right? Belichick, whoever it might be, you should be having those discussions right now. You don't just go fire a guy without ever having discussed who might be coming in to take that position.
And typically what happens here is the reason a name comes out is because, let's say you're the agent of X coach,
Right.
and you started to get a couple phone calls.
Gotta drive up the price, baby.
Well, it's in your best interest to get that out and say, hey, now you're not going to throw the team under the bus for calling you because you want your client to to have a good chance of getting that job. But there's just different. That's why the stuff starts to leak out this time of year, almost every year. And so the hot names like Jim Harbaugh, Eric Bieniemy, I'm sure these are not the only coaches. If the Bears have already gone down this road, these are not the only coaches this has happened with. There's probably a lot more. And I guess my reaction is good. Good, because you
Get to work.
You should be having these conversations right now. If you're Kevin Warren, I think it's a little bit more awkward if you're Ryan Poles when you're, raving about your guy every press conference you get.
Why he
But
does
and
that.
it also doesn't mean that they're definitely moving on. You know,
No, it doesn't. We're just checking. We're just checking some things out.
Yeah.
See what's going on. You know.
What's your situation like in Washington? You think you're gonna get promoted? You think what do you feel about Chicago? What kind of offense you want to run? What do you think about Justin Fields?
Just checking some things out.
Oh, so this is like, when you're dating somebody and you're liking other girls' posts on Instagram.
Yes, we're just checking some things out,
That's
man.
not cheating.
No. Everybody knows that, we're on bad times. We may be separated a little bit. We're not divorced, but we're just separated. I'm just so you see me out at dinner doesn't mean I'm going out to dinner. There are a lot of nice places to eat in DC. Okay. So maybe we just happen to be at the same steakhouse or whatever.
Oh, what's that oyster place right by the White House?
Some cool spots out there, man.
It's a great happy hour.
Oh, you're right. Like literally right down the street.
Right down the street. And
like you can walk straight into the half block that gets cut off by the White House if you walk straight in there. What is that place called?
And like congressmen literally go to it. They have like side rooms.
It's right there. It's like a half block away.
They have like dollar oysters every single night.
No, I'm with you. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've only been there once, but I know exactly what you're talking about. It's literally a half block from the White House.
All right. I know we got a couple super chats to get to.
Yeah, Nick Moriano's in the chat saying he has hats. He said, "I have hats. Hi guys, is this hats for me, or are you just announcing that?"
I don't think it's really Nick.
It is.
I have a lot of cool
really
hats.
Nick.
Hi guys.
I have a lot of cool hats. What does this mean? Oh, socks hats. I don't know. Maybe he's talking to somebody in the chat. I'm sorry, but hi Nick. We miss you.
Nick's hair is so great. Why would you ever put a hat on?
That's true.
That's why I don't wear hats.
That's why I do wear hats. I need a haircut so bad right now. I got to do football night in Chicago tomorrow, and if I don't get my haircut before then, I'm going to be on set with a suit and a ball cap.
That'd be a good look. I think you should go that route. I think that's great. All right, Stephen Weatherford jumping in here, $4.99 super chat. I know free agency is before the draft, but what position should we target in free agency?
Center.
Rather than the draft, I trust polls drafting.
Center, D end, trenches.
No, use
Trenches
number one overall
depth.
pick on a center.
Don't
I would use number one overall pick on Marvin Harrison Jr., though. This idea that that's who you want, then you can trade down. Only if I know for sure whoever is trading up to number one is going to take Caleb or Drake.
So probably are.
I'm not going past two, though. Maybe I go to three. But who's two? Do they want the other quarterback? Because he's clearly the best player in the country to me. And if you have an opportunity to get him, and for whatever reason you don't, and he's a need for your team, to me that's unforgivable. Like, dude, go get him. Who cares? Like 5 years from now, it won't matter if he was the first pick, second pick, third pick. He's the best player in the class. Go get him.
All right. Next one from Steven, $4.99. I'm on board of drafting Marvin Harrison Jr., move Mooney to the slot position where I believe he was his rookie year and got 1,000 yards. And then finally, $4.99, Steven says, I blame the 2 touchdowns we got in the preseason. Getsy believes in the screen game due to those.
BJ did have the 65-yarder against whomever that was. There was another one. It's just
look. Here's the thing. I said this before, as in it wasn't a bad game plan. It's the number of them that were called and the lack of plays off of them that bothered me, and just sort of the wrinkles within the screens, like I've talked about a lot. Why are you throwing the screen to the big guy with the little guy blocking? Can we reverse that, please?
Let's throw a screen in Cole Kmet and let Mooney block for him. No. No.
Can we do that the other way around? It's just little stuff like that where I'm just like, it's just a little too cute for me. And, that being said, I've kind of had this internal conversation with myself a couple times over the bye. We're still doing the show, Greg.
I know. They're putting more reports out that the Cubs aren't going to get Ohtani, so I'm just going to sit here and cry.
Can you just join, CHGO Cubs? Are they doing shows down there at the winter meetings?
We need to get him on a flight to Nashville.
Seriously.
Just get him a bus ticket.
I just want
to walk.
I just want to
cry the whole way down there. Just
want to get in my car and drive it into Lake Michigan.
Ooh.
Okay.
How did you get
There
here?
he is being the victim.
Because
again.
we sucked for
Look at this
so
guy.
long. We won one
It's
World
sad,
Series,
man.
and now it's
this
like
is my dream. Am I not allowed to dream?
this is your dream. He's been in the league like 10 minutes. Relax, man. It'll be fine.
You can be fine without.
It's not okay.
We've never gotten the free agent. When do we get the free agent?
He doesn't even have an elbow.
There's that. When do we get that guy? We never got that guy. We've always been like second tier. You know what I mean? Cool. We'll get Swanson. We won't go get like Swansby. I mean,
always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
it's fine. We'll find a way to get it done. I hope they get him. I would love to cover him.
My team's not even in the wedding party.
They are not invited. Nobody wants to marry them. Nobody wants to see them at their
They
wedding.
didn't get a +1.
They don't get a +1. It's an open bar and they have to pay for drinks if they come.
That's why I'm not feeling sorry for you at all. That's the problem. It's not you. It's me.
It's not.
And it said, I don't even – my team's out there signing Paul DeYoung.
That's what I say about the Sox all the time. It's not you. It's me. Like I'm a South Sider. I'll wear the hat. It's not you. It's me. I just like the Cubs.
What I was going to say is,
Wow.
oh, the hat came off.
Did the Matt Pack hat throw?
Now what would be amazing
sad.
is if a tweet came in saying the Cubs were signing him. Right after
Yeah,
he threw
you
the
go over there
hat.
and pick that doggone head up. Y'all should see how this head is just sitting on the floor over there right now. It is.
All right. What I was going to say is they did win that football game against the Vikings.
They did win the
I
game.
mean, they still found you do what you got to do sometimes just to win a football game. Mm-hmm. And they did do it in that game. Now we'll see if they can do it this week against the Lions. We'll continue to break that down tomorrow and going on through the week. Mark Carmen will be back tomorrow.
Carm.
It's Wednesday.
He's going to be a Puerto Rican when he gets back.
He's going to be what?
He's going to be a Puerto Rican when
He's
he gets
already
back.
Puerto Rican? He turned Puerto Rican while he was gone?
Look at that hat. Just sitting over there lonely in front of the classic Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen tackle of Dennis Rodman. Why'd you throw that hat away
That's
like
going to be you two having to keep me down
that? From jumping in the river?
Jim,
Jumping
the
in the
sales
lake?
guy. Or jumping in the
Sheesh.
lake.
R.I.P. hat.
That hat's stupid anyway. All right. Baldy will be here tomorrow, too.
Baldy.
Right off the top of the show. It'll be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll have news on Shohei. Regardless, keep up with all of our shows down there in Nashville. They're doing a great job. Our CHGO White Sox crew, our CHGO Cubs crew. We're doing another CHGO show today, too.
Yeah, I believe that one's
think
first. I think that's coming up in just under an hour.
Yeah, I think I saw that on the schedule. So we got you all. A lot of Casey's down there, Kevin's down there, the whole crew's down there, and they're bringing you all the news.
And if they don't bring us some trades
Slater
and
is
some players
38.
to make me get over
Told you
this
he was
or
our age,
Shohei, they can all just stay down there.
Shout out to Nick. Slater is 38. I told you he was our age.
That was the most delayed answer to a
Yeah,
question.
Nick is watching the show from
Yeah,
the beginning. He has no idea what we're talking about right now until like 30 minutes from now.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, Herb, thanks for being here the last couple days. Appreciate
My pleasure.
it.
Glad to hang out here, man. Always a good time. Glad to be a small part of the team here. I won't be back tomorrow, Robert, but I do appreciate it. I'll be at Hallis. I'll be back next week after the Bears beat the Lions at Soldier Field.
Woo! That sounds good. See if they can get that big win. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.
Sadness.
Lonely hat.
We all silly like the mayor.